Dr. Mark here for Natural Health. Hope you're having a great day. Sorry we're a little late, having all kind of fun today, lots of patients to talk to, and so we're just a little late. But anyway, we're going to get started here, and we're talking this month now about kids succeeding in school, well, back to school actually, but tonight is kids succeeding in school. So a couple of little pointers on how to help your kids succeed in school. That's coming up quick. I heard one school that is starting the 10th this month already, so good grief, it's time for that already. So just as a reminder, with Natural Health here, we are a chiropractic and nutrition office. We've been in practice now for 42 years. We've had a lot of patients, a lot of experience over the time. So have been around the block, as it were, and we've, over the course of time, changed our techniques to be better and better and better. So we feel at this time this is the best there is. With the chiropractic techniques we use here, activator, zone technique, and some others. And then nutrition response testing is the name of the nutritional work that I do. A lot of this information is on our website too, naturalquincy.com. We have videos on there that explain more what we do here at Natural Health. The interesting things that I've seen today, I had a little person come in, originally from California. I think they're based in St. Louis now. But looking at energy healing more and more. We're getting more and more information about that over time. And so people are really starting to understand how energy things work in the body. And that's what we do with nutrition response testing, really, is measuring the energies of the body. And with chiropractic, we're releasing the energies of the body to help it to heal. Mainstream medicine is just about what you can see. So a lot of times they don't understand anything about the energies of the body, but they use it all the time. So magnetic resonance imaging is using the energy of the body to make a picture. EKGs, ECGs, all those things use energy. So it's a technology that's been around for a long time. It's just that people don't, well, mainstream medicine doesn't know much about it or want to get involved with it. They just want to do their thing, which is fine. But we're going to do our thing. Our thing is looking at getting people well by looking at the underlying causes of an issue, rather than just treating a symptom with medication, rather just controlling a disease process. We find that symptoms are the last things to show up and the first things to leave. So many people can be sick for a long, long time, lots of problems, but not really have any symptoms, and all of a sudden these symptoms show up. My gosh, where did that come from? So a lot of times that's been there for a long time. It's been working, the body's been trying to get past it for a long time, and it hasn't been able to. And we find in our work then what we call blocks and switches, which are barriers as to why the body can't get well. It gets stuck in a disease process or just can't heal. So we want to make sure we break through those. And that's what nutrition response testing does in our technique there, is figure out what those barriers are and break through that. So let's go ahead and get into our topic for tonight. Of course, I'm Dr. Mark. Again, been here for over 43 years. Had a lot of fun over those years. Board certified nutritionist. Been in chiropractic the whole time, and just having lots of fun. So we're going to start talking tonight. A simple thing that I see a lot of kids have problems with, and if you even go to any of the grocery stores, you'll see this all the time. But people buying foods that have a high glycemic index. Now, what is a glycemic index? Well, that has to do with how fast the body will absorb sugar. How fast can a sugar be absorbed is a better way of putting it. So if you have a complex carbohydrate like potatoes, that takes a long time for the body to break down that starch and put it into sugar. And that's what the body is meant to work on. That's how the body has developed or was made to do. It was meant to have these low glycemic foods so that the blood sugar would not raise very much. It would stay pretty even, go up some, but not too bad over time. But processed foods, the more you process a food, the more you get into a higher glycemic index. So here we're showing quite a few different types of foods, and especially in the grains and starches. Your white bread is 100 value on the glycemic index, which means it's just absorbed right away. If you get over to something more protein-wise, you're getting some lower, like peanuts. Beans have a lot of carbs in them. It's a decent index, but you'll find like where more proteins you have, like peanuts, and even like meats and things have a very low glycemic index. the body can make sugar out of proteins, but it's harder to do. It takes a lot longer. So it keeps your blood sugar more level throughout the day. We always recommend people doing proteins in the morning for breakfast. Now, what does that word breakfast mean? It means breaking your fast. Overnight, the body's been trying to repair itself, using a lot of proteins and things to repair muscles you tore up, the ligaments and different things, joints and things, using a lot of proteins for that. And so you need to have proteins in the morning, which helps to replace those proteins your body has used overnight, and keeping that blood sugar level more even. If you start the day with cereal, brand cereals, they don't even have like Captain Crunch is going to be pulled like 120 or something. These really high sugary cereals that are just loaded with refined sugar and nothing in them. They might have threw back in some synthetic vitamins and call them fortified, but that's what that means. It's just synthetic junk. It's not going to work for the body to make it let it be healthy. Now the deal is those high sugars though will give the body lots of energy. The body can run on sugars. It can do that, but it has a hard time controlling that much that fast. Again, the glycemic index that has to do with that. And what does that do, especially for kids? Well, it makes kids go crazy, bounce off the walls. They can't sit down. They just bounce around. They got all this energy. They don't know what to do with it. Adults can kind of handle it. They kind of have bigger bodies. But kids, given a big bowl of Captain Crunch first thing in the morning, or Pop-Tarts, or all this junk, how do you expect them to sit and learn anything? Because again, the blood sugars went way up. The body puts a lot of insulin in there to try to dampen that down, and so because the body doesn't want to go into a diabetic coma, and that's why it reacts that way. If you do that long enough, over decades and decades, you'll have a lot of problem with high blood pressure, the strokes and things like that. So anyway, that's a whole nother night. We're just talking about kids tonight. So anyway, the glycemic index is a very important thing to keep in mind when you're eating foods. Now, I'm not saying you can never have that stuff ever, but it's not a good idea. But if you do, why would you want to do that before going to school? And I know it's easy to grab the box out, throw some milk on it, shove it in your face, and go to school. But what good is that if you don't learn anything? And if you get in trouble for bad behavior. So you need to look at preparing something, even like boiled eggs are a good protein source for the morning. Peanut butter on celery would make a much better breakfast than Captain Crunch or all this other junk, Fruit Loops and all this other crap that's out there. So just to show you how that works is, this is a blood sugar level. The blood glucose level is in red, and we don't have the insulin levels on here, but the insulin levels are going to chase the blood sugar levels. Now, the problem that I have with this diagram is we don't know what this person ate. I think these are pretty high peaks here. This is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I would look at this. If they show you here, the dotted line is the sucrose-rich foods, and you can see that, let's say, for instance, a person's eating a fairly good diet, but did they have a sugary breakfast? Who knows? But we want to try to keep this more level, not so many highs and not so many lows, and that helps keep inflammation down too throughout the day for people that are having joint problems and all kind of other things. For the adults. And kids too, so that you keep that more level. But anyway, in this example, the idea here is they gave the body for lunch, you ate sucrose-rich foods, glucose and fructose. Now, fructose, the FRU there means fruit, so it's fruit sugar, and I imagine on this, they gave the body a bunch of fruit. And so that raised the blood sugar level up with the sucrose-rich foods or blue fructose, whatever, and then it went real low. It went real high. The body panics, so there's a bunch of insulin in there. So then all that goes to fat. Insulin takes the blood sugar out, the sugar out of the bloodstream, puts it in the fat cells, and so then that pulls it out so the brain doesn't go bananas with all the sugar in the bloodstream. And so the body then has to respond by dumping a bunch of insulin in there, And then after time, that insulin is overloaded and it pulls all that out, all that sugar out. So instead of having any kind of normal blood sugar, so you would have a person that right here is hyper with all the sugar running around in there, and then they go almost into a depressed state, lethargic state, because all that blood sugar comes out. The body has put too much insulin in and chased that down, and now they're tired. They have no energy. They're fatigued. They can't think. All that kind of stuff. So this is just an example, kind of a poor one, but it's an example of how blood sugar works throughout the day. And in our office, people that are already having lots of problems with inflammation, we're trying to keep that blood sugar level more even throughout the day. It will normally go up and down a bit, but try to keep it more level. Now, if you listen to what I said, insulin, where does insulin come from? Well, that comes from the pancreas. So what happens if you keep doing that every day? And you can see here, they just did this for the lunch. But what if you had, Captain Crunch for breakfast? You had a big piece of pie, and what else for lunch? And then at night you had cake and cookies, whatever. You just keep doing that. You just keep doing that over and over and over. Well, guess what it wears out? The pancreas. So what does that develop into? Type 2 diabetes. So then you have a whole little list of issues and problems. And that's why a lot of the kids now are having so many problems with type 2 diabetes. And if you have diabetes, it's very hard on the immune system. We have all kind of other things with the C word and all kind of things. So this is a really big deal that people don't even really know about. And the worst thing that I see, especially for the kids going to school, a lot of these breakfasts that are supplied at schools are full of sugars. They'll be like, even Pop-Tarts, but bread or French sticks and pancakes and all kind of stuff like that. And even fruit would be better because that's at least got some minerals in it. It helps to calm this down. But any of the processed stuff, you have the French toast sticks, and you throw a bunch of syrup on there, and guess what? They're going to be real high, and then the kid can't sit down. You wonder why he has behavior issues. Pretty soon he's labeled autism or ADD, ADHD, and on medications, and you got another big pile of mess there to deal with. So again, take this to heart. Take a look at it. Again, we talk about this a lot at the office, working with patients, working with kids to understand how this works and why certain foods work a certain way. There's a lot of politics behind it, money, of course, and that's a whole other situation. But I think that's enough for me tonight. Gives you a little idea what's going on there. If you have any questions, you can always give us a call. We do have free consultations here at the office to help patients to know what we're doing here. And a lot of information, we know where to get it from. And so willing to help out there. Don't forget to go to our website at naturalquincy.com. You can always sign up for our weekly blog or email that we send out. You just do it once a week. It's not overwhelming, but you get some of the information that you'll see that we're talking about here tonight that explains how the body works, and not just waiting for somebody to have big problems and then going to the medical people and getting a drug or something. We want to try to avoid all that. There's way too much of that now. So that's enough for me. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Chip for more information. We're going to, again, continue to have these every Monday night, as long as it's not a holiday, at 6:15, hopefully. And again, we'll post this sometime here on YouTube and Brighteon.com. So have a great evening. We'll see you next week. And here's Dr. Chip.
All right. What's going on, everybody? Okay. So August is our back to school month here with the health shops at Natural Health Quincy. So again, we're going to keep diving into more of the information about what's good for our own health and well-being, especially for the kids out there, just because, again, they are the future, and we want to make sure that their generation is doing well too. But let's go ahead, we'll dive into it. I'm Dr. Chip. Okay, so this is going to be probably a pretty brief, short health shop here for me. Just kind of keep it short and sweet, short and simple. Now, again, we're going to talk about different things about the nervous system a little bit, about how our bodies, again, our brain and bodies are connected. But again, just some facts here, or this might be a little different here too. This is information I've gotten from kind of a year or two ago, but we'll see if you can pass the test here. It's not much of a test. Okay, so it says average attention span. Now, a goldfish, they say, or what studies show, is that a goldfish has an average attention span of 9 seconds. Now, what would you think that the average attention span of your average, adult human, or even kids for that matter, how much time do you think they have average-wise of their attention span? Give you a little time to figure this one out. Do you think it's higher or lower? I don't know, maybe there's something there. Well, actually, I would say, or this is what studies show, it is actually lower. It's 8 seconds. And so when we really think about that, we have to kind of step back and say, okay, with our sophisticated body here, our intelligent design, we are one of the most, you'd say, special species on the planet, or again, intelligent life form here. And I would say is that we have this potential to be very intelligent, but we don't practice near as much. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure to respect our brain and bodies and give it the right things that are going to help us to carry out those specific practices. So when it comes to an average attention span, again, the attention span of a goldfish, 9 seconds. This is 8 seconds, humans. Now that's not based on the, you'd say, the innate ability to do it. That would probably be based on more of how we practice that and what we do for our brain and bodies. And so what I'm going to bring up to you is that when we do not support our bodies well, then again, this is what could happen. Our attention span goes wrong. Now, you would say is that what people want most, especially the marketing, the businesses, all that, they want your attention. They want your attention because they know that if you have enough of your attention, they can allow you to buy their products, all that stuff too. Think about big corporations, big businesses, social media, all that. They want their attention. So if we're better able to control our attention, to see what's going on rather than going back and forth so much, almost being kind of this unconscious pattern, then we're able to help our attention and have better intention in life. Now, what Dr. Mark showed here too is that our blood sugar levels go in spikes when we start eating higher sugary foods. And so when we're having more and more of those spikes like that, our bodies are getting ramped up with energy, and then our bodies are trying to normalize that with our insulin, our glucagon, trying to help make this spike here more a baseline. Now, if our energy is like this, you can only imagine what our attention span is going to be. And so when our attention span or our energy is doing this, our attention span is not very good. And so what we want to make sure to do is we want to support our brain and bodies with that. Now, again, there are different ways to go about that. We talk about here the stresses, but being more, could be the toxins, the thoughts, and the traumas. Now, when our brain and body are very well balanced, then we're able to have better mood, concentration, focus, energy. We're able to perform different skills, learn better, have better cognitive abilities, all that. So we want to make sure that we're doing that very well. Now, food-wise, is that when we eat certain foods or we're doing certain things for our body, our brain has more of the neurons of itself there too. It has a brain of its own. Our gut has a brain of its own. I want to make sure that's clear. And so when we're able to support our body like that, then we're able to feed our brain well, and vice versa. And so when our brain is too stressed out there too, it can have an impact on our digestion. And when our digestion is too much out of control based on a lot of excess, foods like that, or processed foods, sugary foods, that can have an impact on this. So like we said, a balanced brain, or balanced body here, balanced brain. So we want to make sure that we're doing that very well and supporting ourselves in that process. Let's see. Okay, so how much better, what is a good way to do this? Well, you would say is that teamwork makes the dream work. Encourage expression and connection. So definitely, again, back to school with kind of the kids and everything there too. We want to make sure that we're working with them and we're encouraging them, of course, to express different things. We want them to be able to, do the things that they want to do, but in a sense, they're to learn different things very well. And again, when we want to make sure that they're encouraged to do that well, we can get them into different activities, make sure they explore different avenues, but we don't want to force too much on them too, because that can be almost overloading. And so we want to make sure that's a balance. And so again, we want to make sure that they are pushed to do the certain things, because we know in life that things can be difficult, and that with our bodies, we want to make sure to train our bodies well so that we can build strong muscles and everything there too. But with our minds and our brains, we want to make sure that we are doing things that might be a little more uncomfortable, just because we're pushing barriers and we're actually fortifying our will and our different capabilities there too. And then we're teaching our kids to do kind of more of the similar things, because we know that life will have different lessons, different struggles here and there, but it's how we are more able to adapt and respond to those things that it's going to matter. And so again, when you want to teach the kids on that too, we have to be the models, we have to be the role models for that. So sometimes you don't teach by saying a bunch of things, but just by your demeanor and how you act with everything there too. And then again, of course, to connection, we always want to make sure that we're connecting, we're talking, we're doing things with people and all that too. And again, a lot of that, it's kind of going back to that notion of in a society that we're so connected socially by social media, internet, all that, we're the most disconnected that we've ever been. So we want to make sure that we're getting back to that connection and able to have good relationships with other people too. So I think that is it. Again, so thank you again very much for watching this. Again, I think this isn't totally crazy, or not crazy information, but this isn't a whole complex information. It's actually very simple, very brief, and it doesn't take much, but I hope you learned and actually remembered some of these things and realize that it can be simple things. It can be little things like this that can make a big difference for everybody's health, kids, everything there too. So we want to make sure that our kids are able to learn in school and comprehend a lot of things there too, based on supporting them as well. So again, you can always follow us at Natural Health Quincy IL at Facebook, YouTube, Variety, and Instagram. You can subscribe to our email list at naturalhealthquincy.com. Number is 217-228-2040. And we are located at 2000 Jefferson Street in Quincy, Illinois. So thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more health shops this August as we go back to school. Thank you.